stop whatever you are doing right now because the royal landscape just shifted on its axis. Welcome back to Holly Gossip Wood, your absolute VIP pass to all things royal, scandalous and untamed. Today, we are dissecting a bombshell so raw, so personal and so unexpectedly blunt that it has reportedly sent seismic shockwaves straight through the reinforced stone walls of Buckingham Palace. Zara Tindall, the Olympic equestrian, daughter of the formidable Princess Anne and the woman globally famous for her zero-tolerance, no-nonsense grit, has officially broken her silence. Now, if you know anything about Zara, you know she doesn't do palace fluff. She doesn't complain, she doesn't leak to the press, and she certainly doesn't do dramatic public meltdowns. But in a stunning series of behind-the-scenes admissions, Zara didn't talk about line of succession politics, she didn't talk about royal rank, she spoke about the one woman who secretly transformed her children's lives, and in doing so, she ripped open a heartbreaking emotional wound from her own royal childhood. Catherine did for my children what no royal ever did for me. Read those words again, let them sink in. On the surface, it sounds like a breathtakingly sweet tribute, a rare public thank you to the Princess of Wales. But read between those polished lines, tea-spillers. Beneath that gratitude lies a spicy, deeply painful admission that no one, not King Charles, not Prince William, and definitely not Princess Anne, saw coming. Why did Zara feel she had to survive a childhood completely starved of emotional softness? What did Catherine do at a private high-stakes family gathering that left Zara shaken to her core? And how did a secret, explosive confrontation between Zara and her iron-willed mother, Princess Anne, permanently reshape the future of the British monarchy? You're going to want to grab your favorite drink and settle in, because today we are diving into the deep end of the royal revelation that is dividing generations. Before we reveal the exact moment that made Zara break down in tears right in front of Catherine, do yourself a huge favor. Smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and turn on all notifications. You do not want to miss a single drop of royal tea here on Holly Gossip Wood. Let's get into it. For decades, Zara Tindall was universally crowned the cool royal, and honestly, it wasn't hard to see why. Unlike her royal cousins Prince William and Prince Harry, Zara was raised without HRH titles thanks to a strategic decision by her mother, Princess Anne. She didn't have to curtsy in grocery store aisles, she didn't have to abide by stuffy royal etiquette protocols, and she never had to smile awkwardly for official royal portraits, if she didn't feel like it. She was an absolute force of nature, a world-class equestrian athlete, fiercely independent, trained from birth to be tough, unyielding, and above all else, completely silent about private family dynamics. That was the public narrative, Zara the tough, Zara the independent. But behind closed doors, the mask was bound to slip eventually. During private family interactions and candid conversations surrounding her children, Mia, Lena, and Lucas, Zara began opening up about the reality of raising royal-adjacent kids. And more specifically, she began speaking about their profound bond with their auntie Kate, the Princess of Wales. Now, listen, we all know Catherine is the undisputed queen of the public stiff upper lip. She can walk through a sea of 300 flashing camera lenses without losing a single hair out of place. But Zara exposed a completely different side of Catherine, a side the press cameras never get to capture. Zara talked about unexpected school check-ins, Catherine popping by unannounced just to see how the kids were faring after a stressful week, and Catherine's absolute superpower, the uncanny, almost supernatural ability to spot when a child goes quiet in a room overflowing with noise and high society chaos. And this is where the story gets super spicy. As Zara was pouring out praise for Catherine's unmatched warmth and nurturing instincts, her husband, former rugby star Mia Tindall, noticed a sudden shift. The room went dead silent. Zara stopped talking mid-sentence. She pressed her lips together tightly. Her eyes drifted down to the floor. It wasn't just a moment of polite reflection, folks. It was a heavy, sudden realization hitting Zara like a freight train. She was watching Catherine give her children the exact emotional safety net that she had needed as a child, a softness she had been conditioned to live without ever daring to ask for it. To truly understand why Zara feels such a fiercely protective, almost radical loyalty to Catherine today, we have to rewind the tape to a specific, high-stress afternoon behind the strictly guarded doors of Sandringham. Picture the environment. Christmas at the royal estate. It is the ultimate pressure cooker. Every single eye is on the family. Every move is scrutinized. Protocols are strictly enforced, and the royal children are expected to behave like miniature diplomats, smiling, standing straight, and greeting distant relatives they barely know. Mia Tindall, Zara's eldest daughter, was reportedly feeling the full, crushing weight of that environment. Mia knew she was family, but she also carried that strange, invisible middle ground identity. She was part of the inner circle, yet completely stripped of official titles like those held by her cousins, George, Charlotte, and Louis. Then came the moment that sparked the powder keg. During a high society holiday gathering, another child naively pointed out the elephant in the room, asking Mia, in that blunt way kids do, why she wasn't treated like a real princess or given the same royal bows and titles as her cousins. Mia completely crumbled. But she didn't burst into tears, not right away. Instead, her defense mechanisms flared up instantly. She got angry. She got defensive. She wanted to bolt out of the room and hide. Zara saw it happen from across the room and felt an instant flashback. She recognized the behavioral pattern immediately because that was her exact childhood coping mechanism. Zara's instinct, honed by decades of royal survival, was to quietly swoop in, grab her daughter, and whisk her away into a quiet hallway to avoid making a public scene. Suck it up, cover it up, move on. That was the protocol. But before Zara could even step in, Catherine intervened. And she didn't do it the royal way. She didn't send a uniformed palace aide or issue a stern lecture on royal hierarchy or tell the little girl to compose herself for the sake of the family image. Catherine dropped right down to her knees. She got directly at eye level with Mia. She took her tiny hands, completely ignoring the hustle and bustle of courtiers and adults around them, and refused to rush her. And then Catherine said something to little Mia that reportedly burned itself into Zara's mind forever. You never have to earn your place with people who love you. Zara watched the entire interaction in complete stunned silence. Tears welled up in her eyes. An old, long-buried ache came rushing back to the surface. In that single quiet moment, Catherine was handing Mia the total emotional validation that Zara had spent her whole life trying to convince the world and herself that she didn't need. Now, you know we can't stay in the quiet emotional moments for too long because this is Holly Gossip Wood and the tea is about to boil over. Naturally, Catherine's deep, compassionate influence over the younger generation of royals did not go down smoothly with everyone. In fact, it ruffled some major feathers behind palace gates. Enter the infamous men in grey suits, the old-school palace courtiers and traditionalists who treat the monarchy less like a family and more like a corporate brand. Word broke out that a private organizational meeting had been called regarding the scheduling and structure of family gatherings. Certain conservative voices within the palace apparatus subtly dropped hints that Catherine should step back from being so hands-on and central to the children's coordination during multi-family events. On paper, they claimed it was purely about logistics, streamlining schedules and maintaining formal boundaries. But Zara Tindall wasn't born yesterday. She saw right through the polite corporate doublespeak. She knew exactly what this was, a cold, calculated attempt by palace hardliners to sideline the emotional heart of the family and push everyone back into the rigid, cold traditions of the past. Zara went full uncompromising mama bear in a high-stakes discussion involving senior royals, including Prince William himself. Zara reportedly drew an absolute line in the sand. She didn't whisper her objections. She didn't send a diplomatic memo. She looked the room dead in the eye and delivered a 5-word ultimatum that left the room speechless. Not where my children are concerned. Prince William was reportedly stunned. Catherine was noticeably uncomfortable. If there's one thing Kate hates, it's causing internal friction or stepping on toes. But Zara refused to back down even an inch. She turned directly to Catherine and said right in front of everyone, "That's exactly why they trust you." Talk about a power move. Zara was sending a crystal clear message to the entire royal apparatus. She would back Catherine's emotional modern parenting over centuries-old royal tradition every single day of the week, no questions asked. Now, we cannot talk about Zara Tindall's life without talking about the formidable force that is Princess Anne. The Princess Royal is a living legend for a reason. She is the undisputed workhorse of the royal family, famous for her iron willpower, her military precision, and her legendary get-on-with-it attitude. When Anne raised Zara and Peter, she didn't do participation trophies or soft words. She intentionally refused royal titles for them because she wanted them to build thick skins and survive in the real world. And for 40 years, Zara loyally defended her mother's tough love approach. But after witnessing Catherine's soft, empathetic intervention with Mia at Sandringham, Zara realized she couldn't keep running from her own past. She finally sat down for the one conversation with Princess Anne that she had been dodging for decades. No cameras, no palace aides, no spin doctors, just a mother and a daughter face to face.
Zara brought up the incident with Mia, explaining how shaken the young girl had been by the subtle royal dynamics. Princess Anne, true to her lifelong philosophy, stoically argued that hardship and emotional distance build character, that children need to develop an internal armor to survive life's pressures. And that's when Zara delivered the ultimate line, the sentence that permanently shifted their mother-daughter relationship. "I know what you were trying to teach me, Mum, but sometimes I didn't need a lesson. I needed someone to notice." Ouch. Let that sink in. Imagine the suffocating silence in that room. Princess Anne, a woman who has faced down armed kidnappers without flinching, sat completely silent for several long seconds. Zara wasn't telling Anne she was a bad mother, she was pointing out a profound generational truth. Princess Anne's language of love was resilience, but little Zara's language of need had been comfort. Once whispers of these deep family revelations began leaking into the public domain, the public reaction was split right down the middle. Headlines across the UK screamed, "The kindness Zara never forgot." On one side, you had the die-hard royal traditionalists insisting that Zara was being unfairly critical of Princess Anne. They argued that Anne's tough love methodology produced an Olympic champion and one of the most stable and grounded royals in modern history. On the other side, a massive wave of modern parents rallied behind Catherine and Zara, hailing Kate as the ultimate emotional heroine who is actively breaking the generational trauma of cold, distant royal parenting. Even Princess Anne couldn't ignore the noise. Observers spotted her reading through the press reports before an official royal engagement, quietly folding the paper and handing it off to an aide without saying a word. But if you think Princess Anne went into hiding or threw a tantrum, you don't know the Princess Royal. She did something brilliantly, quintessentially Anne. She personally ordered a private closed-doors family lunch. No photographers, no press releases. And at that private lunch, something truly miraculous unfolded. Young Mia was attempting to explain something complicated to the table and began getting visibly frustrated and flustered. Old-school royal etiquette dictates that a child should be quieted or corrected for losing their composure. In years past, Anne might have instinctively told her to toughen up and get on with it. Instead, Princess Anne did something nobody saw coming. She reached across the table, gently placed her hand over Mia's, looked at her softly, and said 6 simple words. "You don't have to rush. Tell me properly." Zara looked up from her plate completely stunned. In those 6 words, Princess Anne wasn't admitting defeat. She was proving that even at the highest levels of the monarchy, it is never too late to learn a new language of love. Zara Tindall started this emotional journey with a confession that stunned the world. Catherine did for my children what no royal ever did for me. What started as a raw comparison of parenting styles ended up triggering a complete emotional transformation within the House of Windsor. Zara found the courage to speak her truth. Catherine demonstrated the quiet, revolutionary power of empathy, and even the toughest royal on the planet, Princess Anne, proved that true strength lies in the willingness to listen and evolve. The famous royal stiff upper lip isn't completely dead, but it is finally softening, and it's all thanks to mothers who refuse to let the next generation grow up believing they have to carry their pain alone. Now, I want to hand the mic over to you, the best community on YouTube. Was Zara right to speak out about the emotional gaps in her royal upbringing? Is Princess Catherine the secret weapon that will ultimately save the monarchy's future? Or do you think Princess Anne's tough love traditional approach was right all along? Sound off in the comments below. I read every single comment and I want to hear your hot takes. If you loved this deep dive into the royal vault, smash that like button, share this video with your fellow pop culture obsessed besties, and hit subscribe so you never miss a beat. Thank you so much for watching Holly Gossip Wood. Stay fabulous, stay curious, and we will see you in the very next upload. Bye guys!